Alright, the first thing you want to do is disconnect the negative battery terminal. And your negative battery terminal, to loosen it up, you got a 10mm nut right there. So just loosen that up. Take it off. Now you just don't want to just take it off and just leave it alone, because it can snap back into place and cause some kind of electrical short. So you want to make sure you tuck that down to the side. The next thing we're going to do is remove the engine cover. Your engine cover is held on by two 10mm bolts. So you're going to just take those bolts out, pick the cover up, and take it right out. Now in the back, you're going to have these little tabs right here. One right here that's got a little circle opening, and one over here. And what they do is just hook onto this grommet right inside there and right inside there. And a little tip, take the bolts, put them back where you got them, so in that way you don't lose them. Alright, the next thing we're going to do is remove the top half of our air cleaner. We're going to remove all this as in one piece. Now what you want to do is grab your pair of pliers. You're going to have a big vent hose over here. Just take the clamp, squeeze the clamp, bring that back, take your pliers and just grab it slightly and just twist it. That's to break any kind of seal in there. Pull that off, put it to the side. Then you got the little holes right here. Just squeeze that in, bring that back, and do the same thing. Bring that back. Go around here. Got this tube right here with a screw, with a clamp. Just take that and loosen that clamp up. Just move that around a little bit. And if you want, this is the seal inside. You can take your screwdriver, you can just put it in just to bring it around a little bit, and now break that seal. Walk around to this way. You got a plug to your mass airflow sensor. You got a tab right there. Squeeze that tab into the connector and pull back. Just like that. It's clipped on right here. Just take that clip and just pull it back just like that. Lean to the side. You got a clip right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And over here, number 5. Make sure that's loose. We're not done yet taking off the hoses over here. Now for your evap, the other end of this, the evap solenoid right here, goes around this top hose right here. Take that off, and you got one more. The big breather hose going down here. Now you can either disconnect it from up here, or you can disconnect it from back there where it goes to the valve cover, right back here.
I can't see where it ends. Oh, okay, I see it.
So we're gonna just bring that clip back, clamp back. Try to turn that hose to break the seal on it, and pull that back. Now everything should be disconnected from that. Pick your air cleaner. You're going to pick this end up and pull it back a little bit, because it goes into 2 little slots right down here. Now grab your air tube up here. Do not rip this air tube. If you mess up this air tube, this car will run raggedy. And it's a good time to inspect it to make sure there's no cracks in it. Take the whole assembly and back it up just like that, and let's put this to the side. Now the next thing we're going to do is remove the throttle body from the intake, because we got to take up the intake. Now your throttle body has 2 coolant hoses right here. Now what you can do is get some vice grips or something and crimp off 2 hoses and take that off. Or what you can do, what we're going to do, we're going to take off the 4 bolts, 4 8mm bolts, and we're just going to lean our throttle body over to the side. So let's get those 4 bolts out of there, and then let's get it off of there. Alright, all 4 bolts are the same length, so you don't have to worry about getting them confused. Take the throttle body off and just lean that over to the side. Now you're going to have a throttle body gasket here. this is a good time to replace it. If you're not replacing it, you want to make sure, take your finger and rub your finger toward the base right here, the flat part of the intake, and go towards the gasket. If you feel your finger comes up, that gasket is still good, and this one is still good. It's in great condition. All right, lean that to the side. Now these bolts, we can just take the 4 bolts and put them all back in there. All right, the next thing we're going to do is disconnect this solenoid right here to unplug right here. Now to unplug this, you got a little tab right there, and you want to squeeze that tab into the connector, unplug it. Now you have a clip that's going on right here. Now this clip is like an arrowhead. It's got a tab you got to push in on this side and in on that side. So I'm going to take a pair of pliers, squeeze both ends at the same time, and back that right out. Put that to the side. Walking ourselves around. Now we're going to do this side first. We're going to drive the side, the left side, and then we're going to move over there. Going back, we got a hose right here, and it looks like somebody been working on this, because they didn't put this clamp back up here. So being that that's off, we should be able to unplug that, pull that off, and twist that over to the side. Now there are going to be 10 millimeter bolts holding this intake down. Let's get these 5 first. If you can look up into there, let me get a screwdriver or something to point it. Let's start from back here. You got one right here. You need light back there?
I'm trying to see if I can even get down there.
Yeah.
Almost there, going through the hoses.
Okay, you got one bolt right there.
Oh, okay.
2.
Okay.
3. 4 is going to be up under here.
Okay.
And at the end, number 5. Now, an easy way of doing this is grab you a 6-inch 3/8 drive extension, and then I got a 4-inch 3/8 drive extension added onto it, and you want to get you a 10 millimeter swivel socket. That's because of the ones in the back. This will make it a lot easier to get to. Let me get up there for a minute. So we're gonna start the one way in the back, and then you can do other ones yourself. The good idea, guys, is to first put your socket on there. It's hard for you to see that.
Yeah, I see.
Put your socket on it. I'm gonna be in your way in a minute. Because this one has a lot of rust on it, so just make sure. And then maybe a good idea to break it by hand first. There we go. That one is loose. Sometimes they don't come out. This one does come out. All right, those are going to be the hardest ones to get to, the ones in the back. All right, let's put this down to the side and let's take out the other 4. All right, we are now on the right side, and we're going to get the difficult part out of the way. You got this one big harness going around here, and that's in the way of getting that intake off. Now, what you want to do is, I'm going to pick up these 2 heater hoses right here, and you see a 10 millimeter bolt right up under there. You're going to take that 10, because that 10 millimeter bolt is holding down a bracket, and that bracket is connected to all this harness right here. That's why you can't move it, right? So we're gonna go ahead. Take that bolt out of here, and that gives you just a little swing room. But you're not done yet. Now you got your heater hoses going right here, and if I push this down, you got a 10mm bolt right there, holding on that bracket. Get that bolt out of there as well. Let me take off this extension. And that's going to give you a heck of a lot of room. The one that goes up here is the short one. So if you can move this hose out of the way and put this bolt, and drop it, of course. Get a magnet and get that. But it does give you more room now to move this out of the way. And now, guys, this is going to be the tough part. Let me get this bolt out of here, and we're going to get that last bolt back there together, and then the rest of them you can get on your own. Alright, you know what we're going to do, guys? We're going to remove this, get this clip out of here so we can pull this harness over a little bit more. You want to take your flat screwdriver, you want to stick it down between here, stay close to the metal side. You want to get down there, and there's a tab. You want to push that tab towards the clamp. And once you get it towards the clamp, you should be able to pick that up. Now, if you can see right here, this is the tab I was talking about.
You can see it.
Oh, all right, so that gives you no room. Now, what you're gonna do is take you some tie straps or some mechanics wire, and you see how I can pull this harness over, but it keeps coming back. So you wanna wrap this around, and we're gonna need two, that's why I got two of them. And I'm going to wrap it around this. I'm not going to wrap it around the hose. I'm going to wrap it around the bracket right here. Okay. Bring this in here like this. Okay, now you want to push that back and start tightening up both of them. Keep this out of your way. Great. Now, let's look. You can see down into there. Now, let me get something to point to that. Well, you might be able to see it. Follow this down and you see a bolt right back there.
Oh yeah.
That bolt sucks. So let's get that bolt together. Alright, now to get this bolt, you're going to need a 6-inch 3/8 drive extension and a shallow 10mm socket. And you want to go right here behind the intake and get that bolt, get that socket down.
Close. Here.
On it. Now you got the perfect room to get you a ratchet in. I'm going to be using a cordless ratchet. Okay. That bolt is loose now. Now I can either get a magnet, or you can just let it sit in there. Let's see if I can reach my hand back here and get it. I kind of got it. There it is. All right. So we got it. Now, the other 4 is going to be very easy. It's going to be one right here. Here, you can use this one. Battery going dead on the light. You got one right here. Okay. one right here.
It's dark in there.
Guys, let me go get another light. All right, we got a light now. Here's the first one.
Okay.
Here's the second one.
Okay.
Then follow up. The third one is right, if you can look at it, right between there.
Yeah, you gotta move that light a little bit. Yep.
Okay, now for the last one, you're gonna have this foam right here. Just move that over to the side a little bit, and if you look straight down, you'll see it.
Yeah, I see it.
All right, so all these you can use the straight. And you might use a 6-inch extension. You will be using a 6-inch extension, and you might be using a 4-inch extension as well. All right, so let's get those out. All right, we got the bolts out. We got one hose going right here. Let's get this clamp back. Twist this. Now your intake is ready to come out. Let's get this hose and tuck it over to the side. But you got to be careful because in the back there is a plug going to it. So what you want to do is pick the intake up from the front, bring it forward just a little bit. And I'm not sure if you can see in the back of the intake. If you gotta see way back there. I don't know if you can see it. Let me see if I can see my
Partially. Yeah, very partially.
Yeah, there's a harness right here, and you don't want to pull it. And there's a plug. Can you see the plug or not really?
A little bit. I can see your thumb.
You gotta push that tab, my index finger, push that tab down and pull that out. I'm gonna try to see if I can situate this in a way that we can do this. Try to get more room on the intake.
I see it.
There it is. All right. So let's get in there and unplug it. Now, your intake should be able to come right out of the car. Now let's turn our intake over for a minute. I'll show you something here. Just like the throttle body, you have gaskets. 8 of them going all the way around. And what you want to do is just run your finger. Let's go up here. Run your finger starting from over here and run it across. If your finger goes up, the gasket is still good. It's also a good idea to replace them at this time as well. So let's get this out and get some carburetor cleaner with a rag, and you want to clean all this up. And then up here in the engine, actually guys, I think it's a good idea at this time. This thing has a massive oil leak. Look at all this oil over there, and it looks like, oh, what the heck? I'm not sure if, it doesn't look like the valve cover. It looks like further up. Maybe there's a hole in this hose, or almost all across here. Maybe it's leaking from the cap and just running down, but that is
I see a lot of wetness around the bottom of the cap.
Yeah, it is right there. So it could be leaking from down that way. I don't know, but that's definitely something that has to be looked at as well. And while we're at here, here's our starter motor right down there. Why they put a starter motor down there like that, I have no idea whatsoever. All right, next thing you're gonna do is get some rags. Get about 4, 8 rags or whatever, and you want to cover these intakes up so you make sure we don't drop nothing down in there. All right, so let's get all that covered up. All right, we got our intake holes covered up. Now you got 2 wires going to the starter. One right here. Now that wire is going around, and you're gonna see those white connectors in there. It's going to that connector, is those pins right there. is going to that connector. And what you're going to do is take a screwdriver or a pair of pliers, squeeze on the, and that one's broken already.
How do you squeeze with a screwdriver?
Pliers. Squeeze with pliers. And back that out. Then you got the one down there. Get that one out. Why this looks like, I mean, this one's broken, so somebody definitely been in here before. Okay, we got it loose. And this thing is all around here. So then we're gonna have to unplug that. We're gonna have to move over a little bit. Let me reposition myself, guys. All right, let's try to get this harness from around here. And there it is right there. All right, now to unplug this, you got a tab right there. Squeeze that tab into the connector and then unplug it. Bring it around. We're good to go. The next thing we do, you're gonna have protective boot right here. Make sure you put this protective boot back on. You wanna pull that boot back. Just back it off a little bit. And then you have, okay, pull that back. And then there's gonna be a nut in the back of this. Let me get the size and see. Okay, let's see here. No, not that. Okay, got a 12mm nut. And that's a little bit difficult to get to. But what I like to use is my swivel head ratchet. You can get in there. Ooh, you like that swivel head, right? Look at it. Alright, let's get that nut off and we're going to swing this wire over to the side. Alright guys, now we got two 14mm bolts that we got to take out to hold in the starter. I got a mirror there, but I'm going to take that mirror out of the way because I don't want to break the mirror when I loosen up these bolts. Alright, from the back of the engine, you got one right here. Then right across from it, right around this hose, you got the other one right there. See that? Yep. So, what I'm going to do now, take this out of the way. Take my mirror out of here so I don't break it. Now those bolts can be really tight, so you want to make sure you have something that can get enough leverage on it. Now, two ways I can do this. One, I can use my speed wrench, and I like this. It's got a swivel head on it, so I can adjust it. So I can either go like this. And that felt like it's going to slip off, and I don't, so I'm not going to use that. If you're going to use a wrench, make sure you don't use a 12-point. I'm going to use my swivel head ratchet again, because see, it can get in there, and it's a 6-point socket. So it should be able to get right in there. That's one, and this one over here. If I can get this thing on there. Okay. Holy cow. bolt is tight. All right, show you a little trick to do. If you got a problem like that, and of course I don't have a wrench. You get a big enough wrench, a box end, closed end, to hook onto there, and you'll get a little bit more leverage. Let me go get me a wrench. All right, I got me a 13/16 wrench. I'm gonna take my wrench, put it on the end of it right here, and use that as more leverage. I think it just loosened up. I think I got loosened a little bit. Yep, I did. All right. I'm gonna go ahead, and once they're loose, they come out pretty easy. Let me see if I can get this out with my finger now and turn it on. Oh yeah, I can turn it out with my fingers now. So let's get both bolts out of there. All right, as you can see, I got both bolts all the way out. I haven't taken them out yet. So we're gonna go ahead back here, take out this one. Take out this one. Both bolts are the same length, so you don't have to worry about it. Without getting it mixed up. Now your starter, you gotta shake it to get it out of the bell housing. Pops out like that. Back it up. And pick it up. Now this is a good time to look inside the hole where it came out of, and you can see the teeth of the flywheel. See those? You can see those, Sivi?
Yes.
So you want to make sure they look like they're in good condition. So what is that I'm looking at? Oh, all right, nothing. All right. So, get our starter out of here, and next thing we're gonna do is take our rags off, and you're gonna clean around all these ports, all the intake ports. I mean, you can do it after you put the new starter in, and don't use no abrasives, anything that can cut into this intake or will leak. As you can see, I can pretty much wipe it off, and just get a rag with some carburetor cleaner. And you can wipe around there, and want to clean up that a little bit better too. Clean up right there. Okay, let's clean all that up, and let's get our new starter. All right, we got our brand new starter, just came in, match it up, everything is good. And I like this because it actually came with the new clip right here, with that one too. So that's great. All right, let's go over here to the car.
Do you need that nut?
Yeah, I'm gonna put that on. Yeah, we definitely gonna need it because this one didn't come with one. Oh. But we'll get that on later. Okay, as you can see, we cleaned up where the intake goes, so all that is good. Right now, we're gonna have to, let's get this starter in here. Okay, now what we want to do is get this wire out of the way. Bring the starter down in there from the back first. Then bring it forward. And you're going to pay attention to make sure like one of the starter holes right there, the bolt holes, are pretty much lined up with that. And then you can just bring that starter in. Looks like I'm a little bit crooked. Also, what you can do is get a bolt. This is not working. Okay. Get the bolt back here. Put that in. I hope you line it up. Okay, once it's in, you want to, by hand, screw this bolt in by a couple threads. So in that way you know you're definitely not cross-threaded. Okay, that is perfect. Move our wire out the way. Let's get our other one into there. Same thing, screw by a couple threads so you don't, make sure it's not cross-threaded. And once you're sure they're both in, and now we're going to go ahead and tighten them up. Alright, we got our starter tightened up. The next thing we're going to do is just take our little wire right here, just tuck that in, bring it around here, and find the plug right here. Let's plug that up. And you want to plug it up until you can hear it click. Okay, bring it around here, and let's put it back into this connector over here so it stays out of the way and don't hit nothing. Okay, got that in. You can see the pieces sticking out right there. Make sure this is all, make sure this harness is all out of the way. Make sure it's tucked away. Okay, perfect. Next thing we're going to do is get our main wire. Bring it over here. Remember about that boot I was telling you about. Put it onto the post of the starter back there. Get your 12mm nut. Put that on by a couple threads so you don't cross thread it. And put that on, and now you're going to tighten it up. And do not go super tight, because you can break that. So what you're going to do is just go ahead. Let me show you. What you're going to do is just go till you feel it stop, and then a little bit more. Then you know it's tight. Because if that thing is loose, car won't gonna start. You're gonna have problems. If it's too tight, you're gonna break it. And then make sure you bring this protective boot back, because if you don't, anything metal touches that, it's gonna short this car out, and it's very possible it can start a fire. So make sure that's on, protecting it. All right, we got our intake already cleaned up. Now let's get our new we got some new seals, because the ones on the other intake is kind of some of them are worn out. So let's change those over and get this intake back on. All right guys, we're going to be changing the gaskets on the intake. Now we told the customer could have replaced 3, but we recommended all 8, and thank goodness the customer said all 8. Now you can see right here on the cylinder right here, see how you got that flat edge right there, and the rest of it sticks out. That could be leaking. The one right next to it, it's got a flat edge right there. That could be leaking. This one is pretty good. That one has a little flat edge right there. So, and this, it has 8, and you got to buy them separately. So we got all 8. So what you're going to do is just take them out, and all that oil that's inside there, you want to clean that out, because you want to make sure that gasket sets in there properly. So let's get all that cleaned out, get them all taken out and changed, and then we're going to be putting this intake on. Alright, we got them all ready to install our intake. Now what you want to do first is turn your intake upside down to make sure none of these seals pop out of here. So you just turn it upside down. What are you doing over there?
Well,
shake it a little bit and make sure they come out. Now when you put this down, try not to let it go on the intake and slide. You want to try to get this to the back and then lay it down. And you got to remember that plug in the back. So once you can get it back like this, reach in the back and try to get that plugged up. Trust me, it's not that easy. Maybe you should maybe you should get your hand. Alright, I got the plug. I could have gave you a little bit more room.
They could have also put the starter someplace else.
Yeah, that would have been much too easy. You gotta get this thing, you gotta make sure it clicks into place. There it is, it clicked into place, good. Now take out intake. And slowly lower it down. And once you get it lowered down, just make sure everything is still looking good. Now, you want to take 2 intake bolts. And you want to go 1 on each side. Now you can actually look from the top and you can make sure they're lined up. And if you got to move the intake, pick it up and move it. Don't slide it. Okay. Now I'm going for the center bolt over here. And I want to put that bolt in. Put it in by a couple threads. Okay, and then I'm going to go right across from it in the center. And I'm going to put that bolt in by a couple threads. And right now it's not lining up, so I got to move the intake a little bit. There it is. Okay. Now, what you want to do is get all the other bolts in and just put them in just by a couple threads. Now what you might have to do is set a bolt down, take your extension and your 10mm and use the extension just to do it by hand. Be a lot easier. Alright, let's get all the bolts in there. Alright, now we're ready to tighten them up. Now what you want to do when you tighten these up, you want to start from the center bolt right here. Like we got a center one right here. So you're going to tighten up this one and then go right across and tighten up the other center one. And then you go, dang it.
And drop your tool.
Yep, and then you're gonna start going from the. What you're gonna do is work from the center and work your way out. Your last 4 bolts should be the ones on the ends, and that way this intake goes down perfectly. Now they're torqued down to like 17 to 20 foot-pounds. No, I think it's more like 17. But if you don't have a torque wrench, just tighten it down. Let's do this one together. I'll be using a torque wrench, so what you do is tighten them down until it stops. As soon as it stops, then just a little bit more. That's it. Alright, so let's get the rest of them tightened up. Alright, we got the bolts tightened down. Now we're going to start from back here. We got our 10mm bolt inside of here. Let's take that bolt out. And then this bracket goes right there for the heater hoses. We're gonna put that back in there. Okay, then we're gonna cut our tie strap out of the way. Get that out of there. Then we got this bracket up under here. Right up under there is where we gotta put the way. Can you see up under there? So we're gonna put that 10mm bolt back. This one you're not gonna be able to find out where it's at. I can't hardly see the angle on that, where it's going. Alright, and let's tighten them 2 bolts up. Alright, the next thing we got 2 hoses. One goes right here. Get a pair of pliers, bring that back up there. This one goes across here and hooks into here, but we're not going to put that in yet because we got to hook it up to the air cleaner. So let's get our pliers, bring this clamp up, and then I'm going to meet you on the other side. Alright, the next thing we do, we got a hose back here going to our PCV valve, going to on the valve cover. It goes up to here. And we noticed that this clamp wasn't pushed up to there, so we're going to put our clamp on to there. And then we're going to take out our 4 bolts for our throttle body. And then we're going to get this throttle body back on there. So let's bring our throttle body up. Get the bolts. Yeah. Start the bolts off by a couple threads so you don't cross thread them. Alright. So let's get the 4 bolts in there, tighten them up, and bring that clamp up there on that hose. Alright, we got that done. Now let's take this wiring harness right here, put the clip back into there, then connect it over to here. And now we're ready to put our air cleaner back on. Your air cleaner is going to have this big hose over here. Remember, that one's going to go way over here on top of the valve cover. So make sure you get that one. That's going to be the most important one. And putting this down, remember, this got 2 tabs sticking out of it right here. You got to put it into these slots first and then lower it down. So let's get our hose in there. Put our hose, the big breather, onto the throttle body. Bring it forward. Make sure everything's out of the way here. Okay, bring it into the air cleaner, down, and then latch them up. Now we're going to start connecting everything. Right here, we already got our harness right here to our mass airflow. Stick that back into there. Plug it up into here until it clicks into place. Make sure you tighten up this clamp. We got a hose right here. Make sure you get your pliers and bring that up. You got the hose right here, and that's what goes into that slot. So you want to bring that in there like that. Bring that over like that. And over here, you have the big one down there, what I was telling you about. So you want to get that one onto there. Bring the clamp in there. And last but not least, this one right here. And you're going to put that one on. I got to squeeze that together and put that up there. And then bring all your clamps up. So let's get that done. Alright, the last part is to take out your 2 10 millimeter bolts right here. And to put on your cover. And remember these 2 openings right here I was telling you about earlier. And what they do is just hook onto these grommets right in between there. You just push them down into there. Just line them up. Push them down. Put your 10 millimeter bolts in there. Then, on this side, get your negative terminal back up here. You want to make sure these things are clean too. Okay. So, we're going to take out 10 millimeter, tighten up this, and tighten up them 2 bolts. Alright, the final step of this job is the key to start it up. One more time. This key thing, man. Okie dokie, everything good, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Take care.